Good morning, everyone. This is Kritya Puri for APJ 24/7. Today's headlines are UP elections. SP has won the elections. Akhilesh Yadav, son of Mulayam Singh Yadav, SP party chief, has been appointed as the CM. Congress and BSP have failed their big test. Rahul Gandhi takes responsibility for Congress's defeat in UP. USA elections 2012. Bill Clinton endorses Barack Obama's honorable decisions. Any sudden change can lead to a major policy reform in the world politics and economy. A second term for Mr. Obama looks likely. In the light of recent events, it is absolutely appropriate to say that in the immediate future, we are sure to see a comeback of India's hockey team. In the past few years, blinded by the glory of cricket, we have, I believe, ignored our very own national game. But the spectacular victory of the team in the Olympic qualifier of 8-1 over France on Sunday has again ignited the lost torch. To enlighten us more, we have Mr. Akash Varshney, President of the Federation of Indian Hockey, here with us in our studio. So, Mr. Akash, do you see the Olympic dream being rekindled?
Oh, well, absolutely. After a very long time, we have seen our Indian hockey team play with such relief and approach. And it was really heartening to see our hockey team get back in form. And I believe if we keep up with this form, we will be able to revive hockey's lost touch. And I give all the credit to our national coach, Michael Nobbs.
Well, do you think this victory is the mark of a new beginning?
Well, certainly this victory was a turnaround for the national team, but this only applies to as long as they keep their good form with them.
And what, according to you, was the main reason for the downfall of Indian hockey?
Well, the main downfall for the Indian hockey team was the introduction of European rules into the game. Apart from this, the rising popularity of Indian cricket has also led to the demise of our national game. And we don't even have any funds to support our player. Plus, media does not support us much as it does to cricket.
With the dropping standards of the cricket team performances, do you think there is a chance of the hockey team outweighing cricket?
Well, in terms of popularity, there's not a chance. But in terms of hockey's individual cadre, there is hope. Actually, this is very relative. As long as the hockey team performs well, it will seek the people's attention. But cricket was always there and it will still be there, and nothing in India can outlast the popularity of cricket. But as long as we play hockey well, there are still hopes.
Thank you, Mr. Varshney. It was indeed a pleasure having you here today. After a short ad break, we will be back with a debate on Iran's nuclear program. Welcome back. Iran's President Ahmadinejad has taken head on US and other Western powers by announcing plans to cut off oil exports to 6 European countries and also by displaying its nuclear might. Despite Iran declaring this as a part of civilian technology, the American-Israeli nexus tells the world to isolate Iran. To its counter, China and Russia strongly back Iran and say that there is no military threat. It seems like the world's been divided, and any measures would lead to global conflict. To debate this, we have Dr. Soham Bansal, a nuke scientist, and Mr. Anubhav Garg, strategic affairs analyst. So, Dr. Bansal, how do you view this whole situation?
I think that Iran is neither provoking US nor posing a military threat. I would consider this as a proud declaration by Iran that whatever sanctions may be applied on it, it is not too behind technologically.
Mr. Garg, I would like you to please respond to this.
I completely disagree with Dr. Bansal. In my view, this is an open declaration of war on the American-Israeli nexus, which is supported by a wide network of terrorist organizations around the world.
Declaration of war? Is that what this is?
No, what Mr. Garg says is absolutely baseless and has no profound evidence. In fact, there have been reports of countless cancer deaths in Iran because it was deprived of the required radioactive fuels. Now in this case, when Iran has achieved for its people what it desired to from so many years, then this cannot be a declaration of war by any means.
Sure, there is a point there, but does this account for no other motives?
Definitely not. This needed for medicinal purposes is just a cloak or a camouflage to hide their real motive of gaining control over the whole world and making it Islam exclusive, or perhaps trying to carry out more destructive programs like 9/11.
Sir, you are taking it a way too far. I think that Iran has done everything within the bounds of legality. In fact, in the past, Iran has been putting forward the idea of Middle East being a nuke-free zone. By raising such allegations on a country, we won't resolve to anything. Therefore, sir, how will you justify that?
Look, I am not to justify that, but how do you justify Iran continuing its nuclear program despite ban by the UN Security Council?
Because I had told you before that Iran was denied of the required radioactive fuels for treating cancer.
But there is no denying the fact that Iran has tie-ups with more than 40 terrorist organizations which work primarily against America. These findings are supported by the CIA.
Okay, so where does Israel come into picture?
There has always been unrest between Israel and Iran. Israel is America's foremost ally, and if Iran develops nuclear weapons, its first target could be Israel. The hostility of Iran towards the Jews only justifies this.
I think that it is like talking between two known unknowns. I mean to say that Israel may have not been known to openly condone terror, but it has been known for using terror tactics against the Iranian nuke scientists. Therefore, Israel has no authority to pontificate or just go on like this.
I'm really sorry, gentlemen, but I think I'd have to wrap up this discussion here. Before that, I'd like Mr. Garg to conclude the debate.
Whatever Dr. Bansal says, I still hold my point of view and believe that the Iranian activities need to be closely watched and the international authorities need to keep their senses on alert.
Welcome back to the show. Next up on our show is a very special segment on climate change. For that, I'd like to invite Mr. Sambhav Agarwal here today. So, sir, what according to you are the causes of climate change?
See, the causes of this phenomena can be both natural or man-made. The natural causes could be the continental rifts or volcanic eruptions, whereas the man-made causes could be emissions of harmful gases such as carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, etc.
Well, how do we contribute to the climate change?
All of us in our daily life can contribute a bit towards this climatic change. Electricity, which is the main source of power in the urban cities, is produced by the thermal power plants. These thermal power plants use fossil fuels to generate electricity. Even if the paper is used in a very large amount, a million of trees are being cut. Plastic, which is non-biodegradable, is also, if used in large quantities, can be harmful to the environment.
Okay, so sir, who will the climate change affect and how?
Climate change is resulting in the overall warming of the earth, due to which the glaciers are melting, and hence it is resulting the sea levels to increase.
Oh, so can we see any climatic variations in the world that have shown up gradually?
See, the environment has been adversely affected by this climatic change. For example, if we consider Antarctica, which used to be the least polluted continent of the world, is now having a very big hole on the ozone layer above it.
So sir, this can get a lot bigger than it is now, if not catered to properly. So can you please suggest a few ways in which we can do our bit at the local level?
Yes, this problem is not a one which can be solved fast and quick, but it requires a magnitude of hundreds of thousands of people to be reduced. Even if we reduce the usage of water and other valuable resources, we can reduce its effect. If we practice the process of afforestation, it will certainly reduce climatic change.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking out your vital time and coming here. I don't know about others, but I shall definitely do my bit for Earth.